G'day everyone, it's Sam. Today's practice is going to be restorative in nature. So working on opening up through the hips as well as some juicy side bends and twists as well. If you have some blocks, we use those, and we're going to get started down on our back. So come on down onto your back, take one of your blocks and just pop it under your shoulder blade. So you want to work the block on the lower side. And so the top two edges are just pressing into your trapezius muscles, just underneath your neck there. So position it with the hands. As you lower down, you want to make sure it's not underneath your lumbar spine. If you feel your head drops back far too much and you have that secondary block, you can pop that underneath your head here, if you like. If there's space, let your arms fall out at two 90-degree angles. You may not have that range of motion through the chest. If that's the case, just let the arms hang down by the side there. So you're letting your hips open, your heart open, your eyes soften shut. And we'll just be here for about a minute or so, just working to slow down your breathing. And coming into your own practice. Each time we hit the mat, it's always a very different experience. Some days the body is hoping for a practice that's strong and intense. And then once we get to those elements of the practice, the body wishes it was something a little more restorative, and vice versa. So today we're working to move slow, to breathe slow, and get into those little niggly parts of our hips, along the sides of our body. So working to slow down and release. Taking 3 more breaths here. So breathe in through your nose. And we'll gently part the lips, just let that go. Take 2 more like that, breathe in. Part your lips. Last one together, full inhale. Let it all go. Nice one. From here, reach your arms up towards the sky first. Just feel the upper back start to press against the block there. Then from here, reach your arms back behind you. So we've come to a space of shoulder flexion. You may feel almost like you're getting a little massage with the block there. You may feel uncomfortable. We won't be here for a moment longer. So interlace your fingers, lift your head up off the mat or your block, and clasp the back of your head into your palms there. You want to pull the chin in towards the chest, draw the elbows in towards each other, and just start to gently shift from side to side on your block. And let your head drop down and then lift your chin towards your chest as you shift from side to side, so you're almost creating a circular motion. I'm just working to gently release, or even massage, if you will, the muscles of the upper back there. That's where we carry a lot of tension. If you're taking circles, we'll just switch directions. Let's go for about 5 either side. There may be some points that are a little more niggly than others. If that's the case, maybe stick to the niggly point. See if you can release a little bit of tension there, find a little more range of motion. And after we've taken our 5 to either side, really pull the chin in towards the chest, draw the elbows in towards each other. Take a full breath here. And on the exhale, release your head. Take your hands to the base of your hamstrings and then pull yourself up to a seat. Nice one. So from here, we're just going to take a cross-legged seat, rest the palms down on top of the thighs, sit up nice and tall. I'm going to take a seated cow-cat here. So you're going to grip onto the knees here with your hands, and on the inhale, pull your shoulder blades back towards each other, present your chest forward and take your gaze up towards the ceiling. So that's resembling our cow pose here. Full inhale. And as you exhale, draw the chin to chest, round through the upper back, send your spine back behind you as you pull your chin to chest and really pull on your knees here. So find as much flexion through the spine as you can. And then inhale, we reset. Chest pulls forward, shoulder blades draw towards each other, gaze lifts. Exhale, chin to chest, round through the upper back, pull on the knees. We'll do 2 more like that. Inhale for your seated cow pose, chest forward, shoulder blades back, gaze lifts. Exhale, chin to chest, round and pull. Last one. Nice work. We'll come back up. If you have your blocks, just position them towards the top of your mat. We'll need them a little bit later. Just gonna come onto all fours and prepare your body for downward facing dog. So push down through your palms here, wrap the biceps forward, and just tuck your toes. Guide your hips up and back for your first downward facing dog. As always, do whatever you need to do when you first get there. There may be that pedaling, that wiggling, that adjusting. You may be happy just to stay there in the shape. So whatever it is for you, I want you to honor that, acknowledge it, and be comfortable exactly where you are. And take a full breath in. Part the lips as you let it go. Remember, our emphasis is to breathe slow today. Shuffle your left foot a little closer to the center of the mat. Inhale to reach your right leg up towards the sky. When we arrive, start to roll that right hip open and then bend into your right knee. Looking back at the left foot, send the left heel to the earth. Flex your right foot, squeeze the right heel in towards the glute and lift the right knee up a little bit higher. Arms and shoulders still square towards the front of the room. We'll take a breath here. And as we exhale, look forward, lift your left heel. We're going to work to land the right foot just outside the right hand. So nice and easy, set the foot down, then drop your back knee onto the earth. So if you have your block, we're going to grab one of those blocks here, and that's going to go underneath your right foot. So the right foot's going to be slightly elevated here. And then the second block is going to go just underneath the chest. Now to start with, we're going to just clasp either side of that second block with our palms and just start to move forwards and back. So just shifting a little bit of weight forwards and back, just starting to create some movement in the front of your left hip here, and finding a gentle external rotation through your right hip. So letting the right knee just gently fall out towards the right hand side. So it's a pose we're comfortable with, a pose we're familiar with. We've shifted it just a touch by elevating that right foot. So try not to lose your marbles at the fact that that foot is slightly elevated. It's good to mix things up every once in a while. As it starts to feel more comfortable, if you find some more space, lower your forearms down onto that block. Press the palms against each other. And then from here, this is where it can become a little more active if you want it to, but it absolutely doesn't have to. If you find more space and your left toes are tucked under, push down through the ball of your left foot, just lift your left knee in the air. So although the practice is restorative, that doesn't mean that there won't be elements of work involved in the process. So see if you can just be wherever you are for about 5 of your own breaths. If the back knee is lifting, make sure the shoulder blades are moving away from each other. The back of the heart is lifting towards the ceiling. And left glute is firm, left knee is lifting higher away from the floor. See if you can sit just a little deeper in that right leg. We'll just be here for 2 more breaths. So take a full inhale. Stay for the breath out. Last one together, breathe in. As you exhale, lower the back knee. If it is lifted, take your hands back to the block. Lift your chest. And then from here, left hand will ground flat onto the mat. Inhale, reach your right arm up towards the sky. Look up. And as you exhale, just let the right arm drape behind the back. So bend your right elbow, let the back of your right hand graze the outside of your left glute. And then push down through that left hand to spin the right shoulder up towards the ceiling, and then look up to the ceiling. If there's space, tuck under your left toes, just Shimmy your left knee back just a little. And keep firing that left glute. So if your left glute is firm, that'll help release through the front of your left hip and the psoas a little more, rather than if the glute was loose and there wasn't really anything happening, we don't get as much muscular activity there. Take one last breath. Twist a little more as you exhale. And reach that right arm back up towards the sky, breath in. Exhale, right hand will come back towards the mat. And we'll untuck the back toes, keeping the right foot on the block, just send your hips back and straighten the right leg. So we're in an Ardha Hanuman or half split. Again, with the front foot slightly elevated. It's okay, don't stress. Right toes are flexing towards the face. This time right quadricep is engaged, so flex the quad. If you want, walk your hands just a touch further forward, come onto the fingertips. Then just take the chin towards the chest. So because our right leg is off center, it's a little further out towards the right hand side. That might make it a little more challenging for you to square your hips towards the front of your mat. So if you need to shimmy and adjust, play with wrapping the right hip backwards and pulling the left hip forwards until you feel what you would consider as a square set of hips towards the front of the mat. Keeping the right toes actively flexing towards the face, keeping that right quadricep actively engaged. If you need to bend your right knee, please feel free. I'm going to be here for another 3 breaths. So breathe in. Two more like that. Inhale together. Last one. Full inhale through your nose. Then gently part the lips to release. Nice work. Start to slowly lift your chest. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Keep the left leg where it is. See if you can pick up the right leg, take it back next to the left. Just set your blocks off to the side. We're going to make our way through a modified vinyasa. So knees stay grounded. Tuck your toes under. Send your hips back towards your heels. So think of this like a child's pose with the toes tucked. Breathe in. And as you exhale, spring forward, wrap the biceps, bend the elbows, slowly lower all the way down to the earth. When you arrive, tops of feet will press down. Inhale, lift for cobra pose. Hug the elbows in towards each other. Gently pull your chest forward as you press the tops of the feet down. Take a breath. Exhale, we roll back down to where we came from. Then with the toes tucked under, just press back onto hands and knees. Take yourself back to that modified child's pose. And then push through the hands and feet, lift the hips back up. You're in downward facing dog. We'll take a single breath here. Stay as you breathe out. And then right foot shuffles to the center. Inhale, reach that left leg up and back behind you. Once it gets as high as it will go, we open that left hip and then bend into the left knee. So the gaze is back at the right foot at the moment. Right heel moves to floor. Left heel moves to right glute. And then left knee lifts higher towards the ceiling. See if you can square off through the shoulders by pushing evenly through both hands. Take a breath. As you exhale, look forward. Right heel lifts gently. We land the left foot just outside the left hand. Back knee will drop down onto the earth. We'll grab that block. This time the block's going to go underneath the left foot. And if you have that second block, just pop it underneath your chest. So if you need to wiggle and adjust your block, we do want it just slightly wider than hip width distance. So maybe if the block is moving off the mat, that's completely fine. Take your hands either side of the block, push down to lift your chest, and just start to shift a little forwards and back. So something you may hear your yoga teacher mention all the time is that we're not even on both sides. Sometimes we say it just because we need something to say, right? You've got to fill a bit of space. But it is important to remind yourself that it shouldn't feel exactly the same on both sides. And if you're constantly chasing that perfection, that perfect symmetry, it's never going to come, because you're always going to be searching for that little minute difference that sticks out between the two sides. If you can honor and acknowledge that left and right side of the body are different, the way the organs are placed inside the body is not symmetrical, then we start to understand that the uniqueness of both sides is beautiful, and that's what makes us human. So don't chase the symmetry, just chase the feeling of release, of more space. Soften forearms down to the mat if there's space. Press the palms together. If you want to, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. As best you can, keeping hips square over the center of the mat. So instead of falling all your weight straight off towards the left-hand side, hug that left hip back in towards the body. So the inner left thigh is moving towards your left shoulder. Right knee is lifting higher, right glute is firm. Let's be here for 3 breaths. Last one, full inhale. Exhale, lower that back knee if it's lifted. Take the hands back to the block, lift the chest just for a moment, and then right hand will ground flat. Inhale, reach your left arm up towards the sky, looking up towards that left hand. Push down through the right, take a breath in, and then exhale, bend the left elbow, just let the back of the left hand graze the outside of the right hip. So it's just falling. We're not catching hold of anything, we're just letting the arm be heavy. We peel that left shoulder up a little higher, look up towards the ceiling. If you want, shimmy your right knee back just a little, getting a little more space through the front of that right hip, flexing through that right glute so you know the leg is starting to find some active opening rather than just the passive stretch there. Take a full breath here. Exhale, twist a little more. And reach that left arm back up towards the sky. Take a full breath. Exhale, left hand to the mat. Left foot stays where it is this time. Send your hips back, straighten through your left leg. Come to that a little awkward front foot elevated half split. You can untuck your back toes. Your hands can walk forward. You can press palms flat or come onto the fingertips. But we work to send the left hip forwards and pull that right hip back. So as best you can, your hips are squaring towards the center or the front of your mat. And you take yourself to a space that you're comfortable, and then you breathe in that space and see if you can find a little more depth. Try not to carry the tension in the neck. Let your head be heavier. And take 5 breaths here. Think about your inhale, filling your body with more space, getting longer through the spine. And then think about the exhale as a permission to release and soften into that newfound space. So each time we breathe in, it's like we're building up the courage to ask our body to release. And each time we exhale, the body is responding and giving us that permission. 2 more breaths here. Make sure those left toes are still flexing towards you. Last breath in. Open the mouth. Let it go. Nice one. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Push down through the hands. Take the left leg back next to your right. Soften blocks off to the side and take our way through that modified vinyasa. Toes stay tucked. Inhale, hips back to heels, modified child's pose. Exhale, spring through the plank. Option to lift the knees this time if you like, as you bend your elbows and lower slowly to the floor. This time our cobra pose a little different. We take the hands wide, press down through the fingertips. Tops of feet push down into the earth. Inhale, lift for cobra pose. So push down through your feet to lift your chest. Hug the elbows in towards each other. Squeeze the shoulder blades against each other. So this is our dynamic moving cobra today. So take a breath. Exhale, gently lower back down. I'm going to do that 4 more times. The movement begins by pressing the feet down and then inhaling. So press your feet down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, roll back down the way you came. Once the head softens, we reset. Feet press down, inhale, lift. Maybe the arms get a little straighter each time. Exhale, we lower. 2 more like that. Press down through the feet, inhale. Exhale, we lower. Last breath in. Once your head settles, slide the hands down by the low ribs, tuck the toes, press back through hands and knees, send hips to heels, breathe in. And then exhale, we'll come back, downward facing dog. Left foot shuffles to center. Inhale, reach the right leg up towards the sky. Start to roll your hip open, bend into your knee. Option here to take it a little further, looking back at your left foot. Lift the left heel nice and high. And then fall to the outside edge of your left foot. Press down through your left hand. As we lift the right hand, the ball of the right foot will ground down, will spin and reach. The hips and heart up towards the sky for wild thing. So the right arm is heavy and reaching towards the top of the mat. Keeping that right arm heavy is going to give you more opening through the right hand side of your body. So push through the left hand, reach with the right hand. Accidentally playing the guitar there with my fingers. Take one last breath in. As you exhale, we'll come back to that one-legged downward facing dog. Right hand grounds, pivot onto left toes, reach the right leg back up towards the sky. And then exhale, lift the left heel, draw the right knee to chest, look forward. Once again, we step the right foot just outside the right hand. We soften the back knee down onto the mat. So it's a similar lunge to what we took last time. The only difference this time is the block is not going to go underneath our right foot, but underneath our left knee. So lift your left knee, press down through your left hand, slide that block back. And again, second block can come in front of you, underneath your chest if you like. Press the hands down on either side of your block. So this is going to become a little more active, and I want you to trust that second block in front of you. You may want to put it on the lower side so it's a little more stable. From here, we're going to press our left hand down into the block underneath our chest. Inhale to reach your right arm up towards the sky. You can absolutely stay right here if you like. If your block's got a little bit of squish to it, that's going to work really well. If you want to take a blanket or a bolster, cushion, pillow, anything underneath the left knee, that might feel a little bit better. From here, we're going to squeeze the left heel in towards the butt. Keep the foot flexing. Press down through the left hand to spin that right arm back behind you. And if you can catch hold of the outside of your left ankle, catch hold of the outside of the left ankle. Start to spin that right shoulder back behind you a little more. Squeeze that left heel in towards the left glute. If you find you have a little more space, maybe you can take your forearm down onto your block, potentially even your forearm down towards the floor. And for those who have come this far, I encourage you to start to turn your right toes out towards the right hand side and fall off onto the knife edge of your right foot, creating more external rotation through your right hip joint. So opening through that right hip a little bit more. Squeezing left heel in, peeling right shoulder back. Take an inhale. Holding for the breath out. And reach that right arm back up towards the sky. Take an inhale. Exhale, right hand will find the mat. Release your left toes back to the mat. Press down through both hands. Lift that left knee. shift the block off to the side, and then relower the left knee back down. We're taking this into pigeon pose, so shuffling that right foot over towards the left wrist. Allowing the right shin to fall across the length of the mat, and then tucking under the left toes to shift your left leg as far back behind you as you can. And then taking the block, if you need it, underneath your right glute. So that's just going to help to prop up the right hip a little bit and try and keep the hips square towards the front of the room. From here, fingertips can reach in front of you. Take a little breath. And on the exhale, it's your journey for depth. So you can soften forearms down towards the mat. There's so many places you can take your pigeon pose. You can rest your forehead down. You can walk your arms forward. For those who want to spice it up and just take it a little bit differently, we can pop that second block back underneath the left knee if we want to. That's just going to elevate your left hip a touch. And from here, once you've found your depth, if you want to really feel the front of that left hip, squeeze the left heel in towards the butt. So the hands are working to send your hips backwards. If you're working the active opening through the front of the left hip, you're squeezing the left heel in without using your hands. If that doesn't feel like it's doing anything for you, you just soften the left foot back down. Be here for 3 of your own breaths. Remember, we spoke about the inhale as our way of asking, building the courage to ask for more surrender, and the exhale, our body responding by letting us release. Take one last breath here. Open the mouth, let it go. Slowly walk the hands back towards the body, removing that block from underneath your right hip, falling off onto your right hip. And keeping the right leg where it is, swinging that left leg around, working to set the left foot outside the right thigh. So sitting up nice and tall, coming into a gentle twist here. So taking your left hand behind you, reaching your right arm up towards the sky as you take a breath in. And then on the exhale, hook that right elbow over the left thigh and gaze back over your left shoulder. Pressing down through left fingertips to lift your chest a little higher, and then pushing with that right elbow back of the right arm to peel and find a little more depth in your twist there. Take an inhale, lift taller. Exhale to twist a little more. And as we come back through center, we take just a gentle counter twist to the other side. So this time back of the left arm presses to the inside of the left thigh. And you gaze back over your right shoulder. And then as we come back to center, we're going to keep the legs in the same orientation as they are right now. Just press down through the fingertips, lift onto that right shin. As you shift forward, we want to cross that left knee all the way over the right. And then work to sit the hips back onto the floor. If you feel they're not going to sit evenly, take a block, pop the block underneath your sitting bones. So you shimmy and adjust so you know you're not sitting on your feet. And to the best of your ability right now, at this stage of your practice, we work to stack the knees on top of each other. So left knee on top of right. You can sit up as tall as you can. You can pull your shoulders back. If that feels good, you stay right there. Or if you feel there's more space, you allow yourself to fold over your left thigh. Not getting too caught up in the aesthetics of the pose. If you can, just allow yourself to be here. 2 more breaths. Last one. Take it together. Breathe in through the nose. Use your exhale. Part the lips. Nice one. Fingertips pressed down. We'll lift the chest. Remove the block from underneath your sitting bones. We're going to extend both legs out long in front. Give them a little shake out. Bash the back of the calves, the hamstrings against the mat. Then from here we come back to downward facing dog. Just cross one ankle over the next. Press down onto hands. Set the feet back. And as the toes tuck under, we lift the hips up nice and high. Right foot will shuffle a little closer to the center. Inhale to reach that left leg up and back behind you. Start to roll that left hip open, bend into the knee. And if we're taking it further, we fall to the outside edge of the right foot. As the ball of the left foot grounds down, the left arm will lift. Push down through that right hand, spin the hips and heart up towards the sky. One of my favorite postures to open up through the sides of the torso. Feel that stretch through the obliques and into the psoas. So you start to feel this deep opening through the front body. You might find you lose your breath there for a moment. That's part of the fun. This yoga takes your breath away, right? Take your breath. Exhale, take your left hand back to the mat. Pivot onto the right toes. Reach your left leg back up towards the sky. And as you exhale, lift the right heel, draw the left knee to chest, look forward, we land the left foot outside the left hand and soften the back knee onto the mat. This time, block underneath the right knee, second block underneath your chest here. Square yourself off first, so feel supported with that block. Again, if the block is not for you, you've got whatever you've got in your living room, whether that be blankets, bolsters, pillows. And push the right hand down into the block underneath the chest. Inhale, reach the left arm up towards the sky, looking up. And if there's space, we squeeze the right heel in towards the right glute. Keep reaching the left arm back behind us. And if there's space, the left hand will catch hold of the outside of the right ankle. We peel the left shoulder back behind us a little more. Maybe even bend the left elbow to draw that right foot a little closer towards your right glute. Notice the right foot is still flexing in this action. It's not passive. If you have the space, you can use your block here. Set the right forearm down onto the block. And for my friends who have come this far, we simply turn the left toes out towards the left-hand side, fall off on the outside edge of the left foot to find a deeper twist and more opening through your left hip. Squeezing that right heel in a little more, letting the left knee be heavy and fall out towards the left-hand side. Take one last deep breath. Stay for your exhale. And reach your left arm back up towards the sky, breath in. As you exhale, left hand will find the mat. Soften the right toes back down. And push down through both hands. Lift your back knee. Set the block off to the side. Then soften that right knee back down to the earth. Shuffle your left foot over towards the right hand side as you prepare for your pigeon pose. So we keep the left foot flexed. The reason we do that is just to protect the ankle joint. So by flexing the foot, dorsiflexing or plantar flexing, it doesn't matter as long as the foot is active. So you can point the toes like a ballerina or you can flex the foot. We just want a little bit of life in that foot. You extend the right leg back behind you by tucking the right toes and lifting the right knee. And again, it's your journey. You can soften onto forearms. If you're using support under the left hip, just take the block, pop it underneath your left glute. Or if you did on the previous side, you want to take it further, lift the right knee and pop a block underneath the right knee. So I feel that the pigeon pose is definitely one of those poses that tells us really abruptly just how imbalanced or different we are on both sides. It's a good lesson in pigeon pose. If you're taking it further, you can bend up the right knee as well. I don't think anybody's pigeon pose feels completely symmetrical on both sides. If it does, congratulations to them. Remember, hands pushing the hips backwards, but arms reaching forward at the same time. You can keep the right foot lifting up off the mat. If you want to lower it back down at any point, please feel free. Just take 2 more breaths where you are. Full and deep inhale. Opening the mouth to let it go. Last one. Walking your hands back towards you. Gently removing block from underneath your left hip, falling up onto your left hip. And then nice and easy, swinging the right leg around, the right foot will land outside your left thigh. Sitting up nice and tall. See if the right foot, the sole of the right foot can ground flat. Take the right fingertips back behind you. Inhale, left arm high. Exhale, hook. Then twist. So it's a gentle twist, not trying to reef ourselves back around with brute force, but instead trying to rely just on the natural movement pattern. So it's a slight external rotation at the right shoulder joint as you wrap that right bicep back behind you. And it's a gentle external rotation at your left shoulder. That'll help you spread across the collarbones, find more space. And a gentle twist by taking your chin back over your right shoulder. Take a full breath here. More twist as you exhale. And come back round for that gentle counter twist. Right elbow inside the right thigh. Left fingertips back behind you. Gently gaze back over the left shoulder. And then as we come back to center, press into the fingertips, lift onto the left shin, slide that right knee over the top of the left, sit the hips back towards the earth, use the block if you need to underneath your sitting bones. Sit up as tall as you can, pull your shoulder blades back towards each other. Stay here if you like, make sure you're not sitting on your feet, or if you did on the previous side, let your exhale fold you over your right leg. So we just have 3 more postures before we come down to rest. And again, the emphasis on today's practice was to breathe slowly. So try not to rush through your last couple of breaths here. When we think about the meaning of the word pranayama that we use so often in the yoga practice, the prana refers to the life force running through us, or more specifically the breath that we speak about in the yoga practice. And the word ayama means to extend. So pranayama literally means to extend the breath. We'll take one last inhale. Let it all go. Walk the hands back towards you. Lift your chest. Remove that block from underneath you. Extend the legs out nice and long in front. Give them a little shake, a little bash out on the mat. Fantastic. So left leg's going to stay long out in front of you. We're going to bend up the right knee and take the sole of the right foot inside the left thigh. So we're coming into a Parivrtta Janu Shashasana, juicy side bend, hip opener. So our intention is going to be to take the left elbow inside the left thigh onto the earth. If it doesn't reach, you take your block just inside your left knee and press your left elbow onto the block. So left toes are flexing towards your face. I'm going to keep the left elbow bent. Inhale to reach the right arm up towards the sky. So take a breath here. Then as you exhale, reach the right arm over towards the left foot without the chest closing down towards the floor. So keep pushing through the left elbow to peel the right side of the body up higher. Now in a perfect world, the right hand would catch hold of the outside of the left foot. For a lot of us, that's not going to happen. So just bend both elbows, take a hand to either side of the head, and work to peel your right armpit up towards the ceiling. And it's nice and gentle. If you take a few breaths there, you realize you don't need your block. You can set the block off to the side. Take the left elbow down towards the floor. And if you have a little more space, you want to work on with that fuller variation. Keep extending your right arm. Find the outside of your left foot. And then take your left hand to the inside of the foot. Peel right armpit, right shoulder up towards the ceiling. Whatever variation you're in is absolutely perfect. Take 2 more breaths here. Last breath in. Slowly come back up to a seat. Just to counteract that pose, take your right arm behind your back, press forward onto your right shin, lift your hips, reach the left arm back behind you. Big breath in. And then exhale, soften your hips down towards the floor. And we'll flick over to the other side. So this time the right leg's going to extend out long in front of you. Sole of the left foot will come inside the right thigh. Use the block if you need to inside your right knee. Press your right elbow onto the block or onto the earth. Keep the right toes flexing towards you. Inhale to reach your left arm up. Exhale to extend the left arm over towards the right foot without the shoulder or the chest dropping down towards the floor. If it's not happening for you, you just bend both elbows. Gently cradle the head with a hand on either side. Notice right toes or right foot still actively flexing. Right quadricep engaged. If you feel the space, you feel you don't need that block, you set it to the side. Right elbow inside the right thigh. If you're going for the full shebang, the full schmozzle, take your left hand to the outside of the right foot, right hand to the inside. Start to peel your head, your chest, your left armpit up towards the ceiling. So we don't want the left arm crushing the face. There wants to be enough space that your head is free. We're here for 3 breaths. Breath in. Slowly come back up to a seat. I'm going to counteract that pose again. So left arm will press, left hand will press down behind you. Sorry. We'll press onto that left shin, reach the right arm back behind you. The right arm be heavy, feel the opening through the right side of the body. And as you exhale, gently soften down onto your mat. So good. So to finish off the practice, we are going to finish in the same pose that we started with. So just position one of your blocks underneath your shoulder blades. Before we get there, bring the soles of feet to touch. Take your hands just to clasp the outside of your feet. Pull your shoulder blades back towards each other, lift your chest, take a breath in. And as you exhale, bend your elbows. Imagine you're trying to smell your own feet. The Baddha Konasana, we are trying to send the chest further forward, move the hips back in space, and then press the soles of the feet together as the knees open away from each other. And letting your head drop nice and heavy here. Really letting your eyes to begin. Make that journey to close. Maybe they start to become heavy, you blink slower. You get comfortable with the idea of the eyes No longer needing to do the work. And with the legs as they are, the eyes still closed, start to bring yourself up through a seat. And lower yourself down onto that block. Position the block so it's on the upper back. Take the arms out by the side. The back of the head rest onto the earth, or take your second block and pop it underneath the back of your skull. I encourage you to breathe slow, to lay in stillness, and stay for as long as you need. As always, I thank you all for practicing. Enjoy your day. Namaste.